Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
Y'all,
Just
this
stop.
is a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll. Man, good morning.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Friday, everybody. How we feeling? I love the whoops and hollers for Friday.
Yeah. Whoop, holla, holla.
Is it that bad during the week?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, yesterday I had fun.
Yeah, no, it's just Friday.
All right, maybe not everybody. Let's just get through this hellhole, huh? All right, welcome to DBL. It's, the cheers, the highs and the lows of television
Emotional
and
roller
entertainment.
coaster.
All right, is Lizzo being canceled, or am I? The singer has already lost 200,000 followers on Instagram after 3 of her former dancers sued her, claiming that they were weight shamed, sexually harassed, and subject to work in a hostile work environment. Lizzo denies the claims. The lawyer for the 3 dancers is also speaking out, saying he heard from more people about Lizzo's behavior. Let's take a look at that.
Now that that this is out, the cat's out of the bag, people are coming forward and going, you know what? I went through that. People they have no financial benefit to come forward on social media. The former creative director, another dancer, and there's people calling my office that used to work with Lizzo going, you know what? Behind closed doors, this is the way Lizzo is.
All right, and we also have one more clip that I want to show you guys of one of the victims, accusers. I don't know how to state it exactly right now, but let's hear from her.
For everyone who's skeptical, just take a moment and put yourself in our shoes. Recognize that when you're in a stressful situation, you don't always know that you're being abused.
All right, Erica, where are we at on this whole quote-unquote cancel thing with Lizzo?
Well, I don't know the current state of affairs in terms of the cancellation barometer.
Nobody does.
Yeah. However, I believe that dancer is the same. It was the same dancer whose video was circulating, and that's her response to it, because she was stating how much she looked up to Lizzo, and she was referring to her as a queen, and all of these things happen after the allegations or the alleged incidents occurred. So I do want to balance the conversation with that.
Some context.
Right. I'm going to go to Al Jackson, who always says that you can't be canceled, you just find out who rides for you. And when you are as big as Lizzo, you have a mainstream audience, and a lot of those people are going to be looky-loos, hate watchers, people who are just doing it because everyone else is following you, and they're not necessarily going to be the people who need to stand up for you in this moment. So now she'll see who is actually riding for her and who is considered, just like a looky-loo.
Yeah, and I've never heard the word looky-loo used twice. and it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Imagine Jeff saying looky-loo at the
It's a looky-loo out there.
I caught it as well, and I was like, I might put that in my pocket for later on.
Please don't.
But, Erica, you're talking about, like, figuring out who rides for you. And I think the other part of that component is now Lizzo has to give her narrative, because what we just watched in that clip was a narrative. It was a video that was shot slowly zooming in. There was soft piano playing in the background, and she's like, here's my journey about it. Because I remember her from Lizzo's show. I saw her every week crying, saying, this woman changed my life. I can't believe I made it to another round. Thank you, Lizzo. Thank you for showing me that I have value. And then to see that, I'm not saying it's not true, but whatever it is, that's what the public is going to see. So Lizzo needs to say, I started my journey because everybody told me I couldn't when I was bagging groceries.
Right.
And then I said once I made it, I was going to bring girls that look like me up with me. So you tell your story, Lizzo, because that's going to give the people that do ride for you a narrative to ride around. The fact that you just go, these statements are false, that doesn't do anything.
Right.
She needs to have her narrative too.
The problem is her lawyers are probably telling her to be as quiet as possible because you don't want to say anything.
She can tell her story though, right?
No, you don't. Anything can go into discovery, so you don't want to really say anything, which is why you say it's under pending litigation. But I will say this: you said something earlier that really sparked my interest. That it's because Lizzo always spoke up for the big girls and positivity that this story is blown up the way it has. Because it's the opposite. Same thing with Ellen. Ellen was like the nice woman that was dancing, and then you're like, wait, what? Behind the scenes, she's a witch. That really makes the public go like. So it's Johnny Depp. We all thought he was Captain Jack Sparrow at home, being like, where's the rum? No, he was like smashing wine bottles and like
That's what Captain Jack Sparrow would do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's
that's
probably the exact same guy.
No, but we didn't get to read Jack Sparrow's text messages, which were really horrendous, right? So it's those people that the image behind the scenes is so drastically different from what we see in front of the scenes that I think the story has legs. I don't know if she's canceled, but the story is blowing up because Lizzo is the opposite of what they're claiming on the public.
Do you think there's something, and forgive me because I haven't watched this documentary, but I definitely do. We had Mario Lopez on talking about the Oscar de la Hoya.
I watched it, yeah.
And
I watched the doc too.
So he alluded, so y'all can tell me, he alluded to the idea of he was put out there as the golden boy, and that was not who he was.
He ends the series, because I don't want to say, he ends the series by saying, Oscar de la Hoya.
Okay.
That's who's Mario Lopez is the producer. He used to be a boxer, if you guys don't know. And it's a great documentary. But he ends it with the golden boy. That's all beep.
That's how it ends.
That's how it ends.
And I'm wondering for, Ellen was the first. Like, Ellen came out on television.
Right, before anyone. Right?
She, was able to have a mainstream after she was, like, pretty much disappeared from the spotlight. Lizzo is the first to ever do this, to be a black woman who is a plus-size woman, to own her shape, all of these things. So it's like when you are the first, people make you the marquee.
Right, you can have no mistakes.
It's Britney.
Right.
Like, you become the machine.
Right.
So it's like, I'm not saying that what the allegations aren't true. I'm not saying that they aren't egregious if they're true. I'm not saying any of those things. But when we're talking about where is cancellation going, is it more about the fall of the veneer of these products?
The curtain is fallen.
Right.
And we see the wizard.
Or is it about the actual person?
Right. That's interesting.
All right, we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. All right, let's get one more story. Tori Spelling's mother, Candy, is being blasted on social media for not helping her daughter financially. So, Candy, turn off the comments on her Instagram, who things are going bad when you shut them comments off, after some people called her shameful for letting Tori live in an RV park with her 5 kids. This comes months after Tori said they had to leave their house over mold issues amid her split from Dean McDermott. But Page 6 says Candy did find a house for Tori, but she refused because she wanted to live in a certain place.
Okay, I have just something.
This could be spun in any direction.
Correct. This could go either way, but I really want to stick up for Tori Spelling here only because Aaron Spelling, the genius behind 90210 and all these places, the gazillionaire, left in his will $600 million to Candy, and he left his daughter $800,000. That's 0.13%, or 1.3%, percent of his will. There's a drastic difference there, and from that power or abuse of power, they've never gotten along. I think there's more to this story behind what Candy's allowing and not. And I think I feel bad for Tori. She's gone through a lot and is a single mom with 5 kids now. I saw the pictures of her in the RV, and I felt really bad for her.
What if she was taking a vacay, and then they just took these pictures to spin it the other way?
She wasn't taking a vacay. They were grilling, they all lived.
I didn't know. Did you talk to her?
She came from a $100 a week motel to move into this RV park, and they're living there with 5 kids, and there's pictures of her.
But do you think that's
Matthew
a little bit
McConaughey used to live in Malibu?
I don't think it's performative. They're paparazzi.
She can't stay at the Hampton Inn, Tori Spelling?
She's literally asking for, she doesn't have the money. She just doesn't.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm not trying to be insensitive to the idea of single mothers and having children to take care of.
Yeah.
But the woman said that she offered her daughter a house.
Right.
You can't be offered anything and then determine what neighborhood you're going to.
I agree with you on that.
You can't.
But I don't know if I trust Candy Spelling.
You cannot afford to have that type of pride.
Beggars
and
can't be choosers.
Because I've been in very steep situations where it's normally under most terms I wouldn't want to do this.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily need to do this.
Right.
But in this situation, I am very grateful for anyone who's extending a hand to me to say, let me just help you out of this hole. Secondly, if I hear that someone is worth $600 million and they left their daughter $800,000, I'm asking what she did. Because the bottom line is there was a lot of things that were talked about with her overspending
problems.
She clearly didn't have the financial literacy that was needed. And so if the mama is offering something I'll be damned if I offer anybody anything and they tell me that they would prefer it in a different color, size, location.
I get that,
whatever.
Erica.
That would be the first and the very last time you
I get that, but I don't trust that Candy Spelling actually was just here, live here, because I don't trust Candy Spelling.
But her conditions,
we don't know that's true. That's rumor. That's rumor that she didn't want to live in that neighborhood. I trust more Tori than Candy. I think Candy Spelling is a little, well, they both are.
Where's
but I just
800,000?
I mean, that was like years and years and years ago.
Al, who won that conversation?
I'm gonna go with Jeff. My dark horse over there.
See,
yes,
Al
you
is
didn't say
smart,
anything, so
thinking
you
of
didn't
show
say anything
business
right
there.
or wrong. There
Al
we go.
knows how to do it upright. Coming up by DBL, are Jennifer Hudson and Common an item? Well, we're going to find out because Erica's breaking it down in her segment, What Erica's Watching. Plus, an important story about grief with country singer Granger Smith and his wife Amber. They're sharing how they got the strength to move forward after the death of their son. That's next.
It's up to Candy. Something where there's
I think
agitator.
She's not entitled to it. She is not.
They can give her something.
That's her
She's
daughter.
not entitled to. Okay, are we on? Because we still.
Yeah. Look at Blake.
Okay.
Blake.
Let me be clear, and I'm coming. This is where I'm coming from.
Blake is holding that camera
When I
like he's
was
got his
like,
grandmother's china.
when we were very little, probably not
little
even 10
saucer.
years old, my father said to us, "I will leave you nothing." To all of the kids, he's like, "You are not going to make a lifestyle for yourself off of my death." And I think a lot of times, especially when you're a person of means, there is this idea, well, I'll just never have to work again. And if you have come from where like Aaron Spelling or someone who is like self-made, and you understand all of the sacrifices that it takes to get to where you are, and you realize that your child, probably your fault, is ill-equipped to handle your fortune and your legacy, then that is what it is. Tori Spelling is entitled to nothing. She was given the best education. She lived in the best neighborhoods. Her father bought her a career. If you can't take being absolutely taken to the penthouse and take that to the sky, I don't know what to tell you.
But
Here's
my question. That's a good point. But if you take your daughter to the penthouse and you, because of your privilege, skip all the other floors so she never sees what it takes to be on floor 10,
Right.
floor 15, then get to the penthouse and be like, if you can't get it all the way up there, I can't help you. She's like, I don't even know what's down there.
And that's true, but at the same time, what she was saying, especially in the beginning, she didn't even want to, she never wanted to work for it, was ultimately the experience. Like, that's what it was in the beginning. Welcome back. What do Tiffany Haddish and J Hud have in common? What's the latest buzz in the Bayhive? And what's Jamie Foxx saying in this week's What Erica's Watching? First, Tiffany Haddish said her relationship with rapper Common was the healthiest she had ever known. Well, until it wasn't. They broke up in 2021, and now she says he actually ghosted her and then had the nerve to break up with her over the phone. Now the streets are talking because the I Used to Love Her rappers been spotted out with Jennifer Hudson. And she's neither confirmed or denied that the dating rumors are true. But as a fellow Chicagoan, if these two Chicago natives are not booed up, I hope we can at least expect a song from them together.
You and Common make the cutest couple ever.
Thank you.
Well, this week, we've seen everyone from Queen Mother Tina, Gayle King, and Oprah, and even Madonna at Beyonce's Renaissance Tour. But here's what has the hive buzzing. Beyonce's wardrobe seems to be causing some shade, or her big brim hat in particular. Erykah Badu seems to be taking credit for this look and posted side-by-side pics of them wearing similar hats and captioned it, "I guess I'm everybody's stylist." Well, Beyonce seems to not be fazed by the shade and shouted out Erykah during her Queen's remix to Break My Soul. multiple times. But that also just might be because she had some time to fill. One queen was missing from her list that she included in her previous shows. The Shade. The Shade. And finally, we are hearing more from Jamie Foxx. We're still patiently waiting to hear more about the actor's health-related challenges and for an official comeback. But in the meantime, he took time to shout out his sister in a very special birthday message. Jamie thanked her and said if it wasn't for her, he would not be alive. It's almost like Jamie didn't take any time off at all. You can see him in the new Netflix movie called They Clone Tyrone and in the upcoming movie Strays. Share with me anything that catches your eye by using the hashtag DBL Erica Watch. We'll be right back.
Heavy summer storms bring major puddles all over the yard, and those puddles can be a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Before you go outside, did you know your pets are just as susceptible to mosquito bites as humans? But before you grab your bug spray to cover your four-legged friends, is bug spray with DEET safe for your dogs? Let's verify. Our sources are Dr. Christine Hayes, the medical director for the National Poison Control Center for the ASPCA, and Dr. Erin Tremere, doctor of veterinary medicine at Ambassador Animal Hospital. First, when do mosquitoes pose a threat to our dogs?
Every dog that goes outside is vulnerable to mosquitoes.
Mosquito bites aren't just annoying for our pets, the bites could be deadly.
Mosquitoes actually carry a parasite called heartworms.
And while bug spray with DEET is perfectly safe for you and the kids, we want to know, is it safe for our pets?
When dogs are exposed to DEET, whether it's through their skin or whether they happen to ingest it, if they happen to lick it, it can cause them to become weak, wobbly. They can have shaking, they can have seizures, and it can also cause some upset stomach. They can have some vomiting or diarrhea as well.
In fact, the ASPCA says it's so dangerous you shouldn't even apply it to yourself with your pet nearby.
If you are using a DEET spray, we do recommend following the label instructions and removing the pet from the area while you are spraying it for yourself.
Dr. Tremere says there are a few safe alternatives.
With the dogs, the Advantix product, if you're having a big mosquito problem, is something that you could definitely try. Avon Skin So Soft, a lot of people find that that helps keep mosquitoes away from them, and that is a safe product.
So we can verify, no, bug spray with DEET is not safe for your dogs. Welcome back. When everything in your life seems perfect, it's easy to forget that in an instant, it can all be taken away from you. That's exactly what happened to country singer Granger Smith and his family earlier. They shared their story of losing their son with us and how they're turning their pain into purpose. Watch. Granger Smith was living his dream. Top of the country charts, sold out tours, and a beautiful family. But on one summer day, that all changed. Granger was playing with his daughter in the backyard while his two young boys ran after each other.
I just had this thought, soak up this moment because it's not going to last forever.
Within a couple of minutes, the laughter stopped, leaving an eerie silence. Granger's gut told him something wasn't right, so he went to find his boys. What he found was every parent's worst nightmare.
There wasn't a splash, there wasn't any kind of call for help. I just saw him.
His youngest son, River, had slipped through the pool gate and fell into the water. Granger pulled his son from the pool, but it was already too late. Granger and Amber lost their 3-year-old son that day.
He'll always be with me, and he'll always be in our hearts.
Please welcome to the show, Granger and Amber Smith. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Hi guys. Granger, in your new book, and I have it right here, you compare life and grief to a river, which was actually your son's name. Wow. Can you just describe what you mean by that?
Yeah, it's interesting. We can look at life like a river where it's just always flowing downstream. Sometimes it could go through twists and turns, and sometimes deep or shallow or bogged up or rapids. But the reality is it always moves downstream. our reaction to that is how we respond to it. Do we have our oars? Do we have our paddles? Do we have a mentality of, let's choose happiness? What happens when your happiness goes off a waterfall and you can't control the flow of your river? What happens when you can't choose happiness because you literally have no other choice in life? You're at the rock bottom of your river. That's what ended up happening to me. In a place of total surrender, the only thing I could do was completely surrender.
Wow. Just to follow up, what made you want to share this story with the world? And I asked that to both of you.
Yeah, to be honest, and Amber might answer a different way, but through the years, it's been about almost 5 years. And as we told our story, as we were able to empathize with people that have gone through something similar, and if you breathe oxygen on planet Earth, you will go through some kind of grief or loss. If you love anything, then the amount of love you have is also the amount of grief you'll have if you lose them. So if we could help equip somebody with being prepared for that, or maybe help them move forward if they're stuck in that, that's a little bit of healing for me.
Let's talk about helping people be equipped, because no one really knows the right thing to say in a situation like this. And in the book, you say that you hate when people ask if everything is okay. Amber, what would you have preferred that they ask you and Granger during this time and even now?
You know, in those beginning days, those first few days and hours and weeks, you really just need to be there with them and sit with them, just be present, just give them a hug, sometimes say nothing. Just cry with them, mourn with them, weep with them. That's what we're supposed to do. And then as time goes on, you just say, we started saying, how's your heart today? Because how you're feeling can change. Like there's waves of grief. Sometimes you're feeling okay, and the next moment you're on the floor again crying. So we would ask each other, how's your heart? And I still say that to friends of mine, how's your heart today? Because we know that when you're walking through grief, that can change at any moment.
That is beautiful.
Let's talk about the moment you were reborn in the book, Granger. How did your faith change after River's passing?
It was a moment of surrender. It was a moment of realizing that there are things in life that you cannot control. And if you surrender that, if you can completely surrender that and say, God, you just take control. You have planned this. You have purposed this. I can't affect this in any way. There is such peace and rest in handing that over.
You're on your final tour right now. Why did you decide to step away from music?
As much as I love music, as much as I have felt healing and playing songs 3 minutes at a time and seeing joy come from people, I just feel like there is a greater message I need to give. And there are too many people out there hurting, are stuck, are trying to find where their happiness lies. And I feel like through books like this and me being able to get out and free myself up to speak about this, I feel like this is more important than music touring.
Wow. Amen. Wow. Beautifully stated again. Granger and Amber, our hearts are with you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. DBL Nation, you can grab a copy of Granger's book, Like a River, now wherever books are sold. We thank you two again. Appreciate you both. We'll be right back.
Thank you, guys.
Especially in this heat, staying safe means staying hydrated. We checked with several sources to quench our thirst for a hydration education. Is being thirsty a sign of dehydration? Sources say yes. According to the CDC, by the time you feel thirsty, your body is already telling you that you don't have enough fluids. And while dehydration can make you more susceptible to heat-related illness, quenching thirst when it hits can keep you healthy.
By the time you feel thirsty, you're only, let's say you're about 1% dehydrated. That is not in any way a dangerous condition. It just means you need to top yourself off, essentially. So if you feel thirsty, you need to drink.
So grab a bottle and start chugging, right? Actually, no. It can be tempting to drink a lot of water in one sitting, but our experts say that's not as useful in long-term hydration. And for some people with other medical issues, it can be dangerous. The CDC says too much fluid in a short amount of time can throw off the concentration of salt in the bloodstream.
There is certainly an extreme upper limit of water intake that can be a problem.
So how much should you drink and when? The CDC recommends when working in the heat, drink 1 cup of water every 20 minutes or so and no more than 48 ounces or 1.5 quarts every hour. So raise a glass of water
What about iced tea or your favorite sports drink? Are other liquids more hydrating than water? It's quite a battle to get enough fluids, but our experts say the best weapon in most cases is still water. However, keeping in mind the impact of any added sugar to your diet, they say tea and sports drinks aren't bad options when you're feeling thirsty.
There was a very long-standing misunderstanding about caffeine, but it's been debunked now.
While Dr. O'Mara says it's still important not to overindulge in too much caffeine every day, the CDC says caffeine really doesn't have an effect on overall hydration and is not dehydrating like was once thought. The only thing our experts say to avoid in situations where dehydration could be an issue is alcoholic drinks. Not only are they dehydrating in and of themselves, but they can also keep you from recognizing the other signs and symptoms of heat-related illness. Stay safe out there and stay hydrated. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Since the 1960s, federal air marshals have flown on commercial flights. They're specialized officers who are armed and fly undercover to deter hijackings. They have the power to step in and use force or arrest passengers if needed. One Verify viewer texted us to ask if there are air marshals on every U.S. flight. So, let's verify. Our sources are the U.S. Government Accountability Office, the Transportation Security Administration, and the Federal Air Marshal Service. Even though air marshals have existed for decades, their role changed substantially after 9/11. When 9/11 happened, the Federal Air Marshal Service says there were just 33 marshals employed at the time. Today, there are several thousand that take to the skies. The exact number is considered sensitive security information, but the government acknowledges there are many more U.S. air carrier flights each day than can be covered by air marshals. Marshals cannot work on planes operated by foreign carriers, although other countries may use their own air marshals. So, no, there is not an air marshal on every flight. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. So it's over, guys. 30 more seconds and the weekend's yours.
Can I tell you guys something? I went and bought a gazillion flowers, and I know it's late, and I planted them all like lilacs, and I have 1 month to enjoy them, and I know it's stupid, but I did it anyway.
All right.
If I knew that was the story, I would have had the producers arrange a story for it.
I was going to ask a semi-serious question before. Is it the weekend good for the Lizzo news cycle? Do you think the weekend will kind of, because I think during the week,
or is it going to bring more people out of the woodwork?
Yeah, domino effect maybe. But again, back to my flowers. There's lilacs. I'm just kidding. I was trying to.
No, take us home with the flowers.
It's all yours now.
Talk about why you pick lilacs.
Just the odor.
How do you water them?
They smell great.
Do you cry into them all weekend?
I do. I cry a lot. My sad tears actually help the roses grow.
I'm kind of team Tori. I do like lilacs. Like I didn't know flowers really smell like that.
Really,
I love she has a garden.
A huge garden, and I've had a lot of pumpkins growing.
All right. Well, this might be the last time you see us because of those stories. So have a great weekend, everybody.
Sorry.